Wolf can maybe win you a game when you're being outchanced 10-6. But when you got one of your best defensive defensemen out in Kevin Ball and guys are playing way above their heads and you've got guys like Barry in there and everybody's just slotted away too high. And okay, now it's like you're getting outchanced like 16-4. Like it makes that much of an impact on the defense where it's like even Dustin Wolf can't cover up for that much of a porous defense. So,
well, what are we, 5 points out of bottom 10? Or is it more now after the 3-game skid last week?
I believe we're 5 points. 5 points out of bottom 10.
There's a lot of mid-parity going on. I guess
like 5 teams with like what 60 points, kind of.
We can just get right into it. You have last week you drop games to the Avalanche, to the Leafs. You blow a game against the Kraken, and I don't know. This is pretty indicative of where we currently match up against more of the elite teams in the league, the actual cup contending teams. There's no fucking way these guys win around against the Leafs, win around against the Avalanche. As much as you'd like to see them get into the playoffs and have a few more playoff games at the Dome before it's all said and done, just the defensive side of the game looked terrible last week. And we'll get to a couple stats here, but unless Dustin Wolf is near flawless, because I mean, I don't fault him on either one of those games. He let in,
he was great. He was great in both of those games, wasn't he?
Let in 5 goals against the Leafs. Nylander has an empty netter to secure the hat trick. Good old son of Michael Nylander, former Calgary Flame. I think Nylander likes playing in Calgary. He likes putting on a show in front of all those Leafs fans. But unless Wolf, you saw it against, same thing against the Avalanche, unless he is fucking batshit crazy on top of his head and somehow shuts the door against elite talent, then I don't know, man. The defense was so bad in those 2 games.
Yeah, I think against the Avs, the high danger chances were 15-3, 5-on-5, 16-4 total.
Yikes!
Like they got it started out okay. Huberdeau scores. You're like, oh yeah, like we can hang. Oh fuck!
Yeah, no, I think they were up on both games, weren't they not? Then they go up a first against the Leafs as well, 5-on-3 goal.
Well, yeah, because what's his name scored that goal that was like no goal for 4 hours, and they reviewed it for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and then the Flames score, and it was that whole game was a bit of a debacle with all those goal reviews. But yeah, like you looked like you were in it kind of early, and then it was just like they put you to bed and tucked you in and kissed you goodnight to sleep and gave you a little milk drink, and Huberdeau went, tuck little Johnny, it's bedtime, Jonathan, and everybody, they just put us to bed, put us right to bed, and it was lights out. Even with, like I said, Wolf played pretty great in both games. So yeah, that's kind of you always talk about these litmus test games. Yeah, those are some litmus tests that yielded some pretty scary results for anybody who's thinking, yeah, we can do this, even with the new guys, right? What are they, 1-4-1 with since the trade? Or they've only won once since the trade. So even with this boost, even with 2 solid middle 6 NHL players, you're still like, yeah, we're getting freaking spanked by the good teams in the league.
I think, Theo, I mean, you're sitting here, you're at the unofficial halfway point. Is it 3 points out of a playoff spot?
Yeah, 3 points behind Vancouver, yeah.
Vancouver looks like they found their footing post-Miller trade. We'll see what happens there, but Vancouver is going to need to help us. They're going to need to falter if the Flames really stand a chance. You're looking at the strength of schedule to finish the season, and it is tough,
dude.
So we'll get into it when they come back from the break. They got the one easy opponent in the Sharks at home before they head off that killer 5-game road trip, where they play the likes of Washington Capitals, good for second place in the league. Tampa's having a great season.
And Tampa. What is Tampa stomp us 8-3 already this year?
Then you go play the defending Stanley Cup champions in Florida. It's a back-to-back game. You play Carolina the next day. You have a bit of an easier opponent in Philadelphia. later on in the week, but then you round out your gauntlet of a road trip against the Dallas Stars in Dallas. Ooh,
Yikes.
those are some tough opponents. We've seen what just happened against cup contending teams. They just pick us apart defensively. I mean, Tyson Barrie's a literal pylon against the Leafs. Did he play against the Avalanche too?
No.
They pulled him out for that one.
Oh yeah.
So I don't.
They must have. There's no way.
I just don't know if Tyson Barrie we're going to see him be playing in the Flames uniform here.
Why did they even sign him? Is my question. We see Solovyov against Seattle. I'm like, what the fuck what are we doing? Why do I have to watch these? What they should have signed Gio. This is what I've been saying since the beginning of the season. Sign Gio at least if you're going to sign some old guy to just be around. At least bring Gio back and mend that bridge and make amends for kicking him out the back door like a common criminal.
We'll get to the Uyghur.
Yeah, I've given my whole life to this.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, Mark.
Back to the gym.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good, Brad.
We'll get to the Uyghur interview, but Gio would have been a key guy to really help mentor these players, and a guy that had nothing but love and dedication and loyalty to Calgary. I agree. He would have been a better decision than Tyson Barrie. You have the Habs at home after that, then Vancouver, Avalanche, back in Toronto, the Rangers, the Devils, the Islanders. You have Seattle again, but then you have Dallas, Edmonton, the Avs again.
Well,
and
to be perfectly honest, we probably will know the fate of well, maybe not because it's the Flames.
Oh, I think it's the next 2 weeks will be
the next 2 weeks, like that gauntlet of games. We'll know, and this is exactly what happened last year, right? This was the inflection point. Everybody kind of forgets that they were really in it up until kind of the last couple months of the season. Even though they started out like 2-7, they kind of got on that roll where they weren't losing a lot, and they strung a few wins together, and they were picking up all these points, and they were kind of sniffing around it a little bit. And it was like, are we selling? Are we in it? Da-da-da. Even when the Lindholm trade happened, like Kuzmenko comes in, it was like, let's go playoffs, right? Like they were like right there. And then it was just that last like 2.5 months where they fell off a cliff and ended up picking top 10.
Well,
so,
Markstrom really started to stink in that time frame. Vladar got more games. We didn't see much of Dustin Wolf to the near end. So, I mean, that's different. Are you looking at the second half, or it's not even, it's more than half,
yeah.
The final stretch here. And I don't know. Well, like you said, the next 2 weeks are freaking imperative. Even if they can go 500 on this road trip, and just keep yourself afloat, maybe you can make some bank when you get back home and you have a few weaker opponents, but there's really just a lot of tough opponents coming up. So it's going to be a good test. They're going to have to earn it, right? If they legit, if they somehow get into a playoff spot, then they fucking
they totally earned it, 100%, man.
If you're looking at probabilities, I mean, I think you're more probable to end in a bottom 10 position, getting another top 10 pick than making the playoffs at this point. However, we'll see how it plays out. Sports are always. This is why we love sports. You never know what's going to happen.
Right? Like, you never know. And like a week ago, I'm doing my fucking victory lap about how the vibes are great here, and Vancouver's a mess, and they're falling apart, and LA's falling apart, and we're going to catch LA, and we're right there for a Pacific Divisional playoff spot, and we just made the trade, and we're like, we're going to get this big boost. Here we go. Let's go. Vibes. And then you fall apart for 5 games, and it's like, well, fuck, we're totally done for.
Bet365, the world's largest sports betting platform. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Download the app today. Use the code NATION when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. Well, maybe this is a good thing because, at this break, I think the consensus probably across the league, even though the Flames are written off early and they've really proven everybody wrong in that sense, they're kind of back to being expected to
being
falter.
The underdog. Yeah.
So now maybe this is what they needed. They're gonna be like, oh, everybody's not believing in us again. So here we go. Well, they always kind of do the opposite of what everybody expects.
They really do. And you have to factor in the loss of Ball and Zeri have been
huge.
When the margin of error is so slim, like that's the thing you've seen. The last few games has been like, hey, Wolf can maybe win you a game when you're being outchanced 10-6. But when you got one of your best defensive defensemen out in Kevin Ball, and guys are playing way above their heads, and you've got guys like Barry in there, and everybody's just slotted away too high. And okay, now it's like you're getting outchanced like 16-4. Like it makes that much of an impact on the defense, where it's like even Dustin Wolf can't cover up for that much of a defensive, that much of a porous defense. So
that's really what the story was last week.
Yeah. Like
they really missed.
You really missed Kevin Ball.
So, if these guys, if you're going to keep the hopes still stirring on the back burner, I think it really comes down to number one, Dustin Wolf. And I like we mentioned, you don't fault him for those losses. Maybe the Kraken goal, the game tying goal, maybe he should have that one. But I kind of get the sense that it's one of those challenges as a young player. Now Dustin Wolf is the bona fide number one on this team. He's getting the harder matchups every night. He's the go-to guy. Like, you can tell Husk is like, it's Wolf. If we stand a chance to make the playoffs, we got to ride this guy. And, with the increase in playing time and increase in starts, I think you're going to see it. It's you see it all the time. He's a rookie, first full NHL season in this league. You've seen what he's done. He won Rookie of the Month in January. I feel like this 2 weeks is going to be perfect timing for Dustin Wolf to recoup, to work on the elements of his game, because that's the thing is, like, now that you're playing this elite competition and you're facing that many chances, I still think this team has a chance because they have Dustin Wolf in net. We've seen what he can do. I only think this guy is going to get better as a goaltender in this league. Obviously, like you mentioned, you can't outplay the terrible defense and the onslaught of high danger chances. Like, no one's that good. Like, Dominic Hasek wasn't even that good. So, but if he can recoup and bring another level, even if it's like a slight increment in his game, if he gets you one more, expected goals saved that Dan Villara's most likely letting in per week, maybe that's enough of an edge, combined with the return of Ball. I have no timetable on either him and Zari's, comeback return, but I feel like these 2 weeks, we should see these guys back in action pretty damn soon. So if Dustin Wolf's got 2 weeks to kind of, contemplate and reflect on everything that's brought him success so far this season, to bring a new version of himself after the rest, I just feel like we might see Dustin Wolf in peak form here, at least for the rest of the month. Couple that with Ball return, Zara return. If Frost and Farabee get a little bit more comfortable, a little more settled in, maybe that's enough to keep you in this playoff hunt. But I think you're going to need help from Vancouver. So I'm not writing these guys off by any means yet, but the writing seems to be on the wall, does it not?
Well, yeah, it's like the cracks are starting to form at the very least, especially with those 3 games you just blew, and the 2 games in particular against Colorado and Toronto. But I agree. Like, Wolf has been that much of a difference maker already this season. Like, this break comes at a perfect time.
I think so. Yeah.
And we knew that's the thing. We knew
it allows these guys to do a regroup of some sort.
We knew they were going to hit a slide at some point, right? Like, this couldn't keep. It's been one of the more impressive things about this season, right? Is that they haven't really let 2 losses become 3, get on a downward spiral here, and then totally get themselves out of this. They've been pretty good at, reeling it in when they do struggle. But we knew that a slump was probably coming, and if it's going to come, now is a perfect time. Give these guys. Kevin Ball still out from what was deemed taken down from a major to a minor. He's still out, by the way. It's totally fucking fine. But it's perfect timing. You can. I'm glad Uyghur didn't make the team, even though he should have been there. Give him a little bit of time to rest up too.
100%. Yep.
Even though Rasmus is there, he might even not be playing. He was the 7th in practice.
Maybe he'll be better after playing best on best for 4 games. 3 games probably.
Go hang out with the best in the world. So it's kind of perfect timing, even though it does seem kind of like, holy shit, like we're totally done for. I agree with you. With Dustin Wolf, anything is possible.
The other thing worth noting is Huskers finally tinkering with the lines. What was it?
Coronado with Huberdeau and Kadri. Yep.
Frost with Farabee on Sharangovich's line there. So we'll see. Maybe Husky can find a little bit of magic juice. I don't know. Like I said, I think their chances are pretty fucking slim. Yeah. But with Dustin Wolf in net, man, this guy has. If we've learned anything all season long,
don't count this motherfucker.
There's a realm of possibilities still exists if you got him between the pipes.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as we think, oh, we're done. No, Wolf is there to save us. And you can do anything with a goalie like that. Like, happens all the time. You see it every year. It's like, how did this team make it? Oh, it's the goalie. Happens all the freaking time, man.
Who knows? Maybe you're playing all these top teams. They got a lot of players at this Four Nations face-off. Maybe that factors in. Maybe they're a little tired or banged out. Like, who knows? Maybe you can take advantage of.
Hey, but having no elite players to send to a tournament like that is coming into our favor, maybe. Hey?
Well, you're going on a gauntlet of a road trip, and a lot of those teams have a lot of players playing in this tournament. So
hey,
you never know. We're just grasping at straws here because that's all we kind of got left at this.
Well, and what are we gonna do? Like, it's kind of like one of those things where when you like face the horrors of your own life, you can't think about them too much. Like the horrible reality that could be, we plummet down the standings, but Wolf is like just good enough to keep us in that 11-12 range. We have to fork over our first round pick to Montreal and be like, oh, fuck, man, this sucks. So I'm trying to keep that out of my mind right now too.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long-form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.